because, I'm being watched. And, and then, everybody you talk to, it's like a nice long train. I mean, the next person
and they tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and so on, and so on. And then it's a disease.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, you got to really watch what you say. I mean, I always wonder how, like, somebody threatens, like, the president or a governor or somebody, right, on the internet, or says something on the phone, and all of a sudden, like a couple days later, they're being arrested. It's because, what you say, just doesn't stay in your house. And what also he said it's really bad that, like your laptop, or if you have a computer with a camera on it, if they're watching you, and all of a sudden, he said, like, if you're going to have sex with your wife or girlfriend that night, you better cover up your lens.
Yeah, well, then you got those people that just go ahead and upload it to the internet anyway without even thinking twice and don't even care,
Yeah. Well, this reminds me, even there was a school teacher back about 2 years ago that the school district was giving all these laptops out to the students, right? This computer teacher, right, figured out, oh, gee, I can turn it on and watch you on your camera, And he got busted because he was watching the girl students, at home, like undressing and stuff like that. He got busted, because somebody finally figured out, hey, why is that light coming on my computer right now? It's because he figured out how to hack into everybody and, and turn on their camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, for everything, it also brings bad.
Exactly. And I kind of look at it like this. If you want to see my boring life, if you want to tune in and listen to things that I'm talking about, by all means, go right ahead. You know what I mean? You want to see me and my wife going at it, go ahead. You know what I mean? It's a great show. So.
Yeah, but I would like to get royalties in my case at my age.
No, I get it. Right, 100%. 100%. You want to get paid for this stuff. But like I said, you want to spy on it, go right. I ain't shy.
Yeah,
it's by the sheer numbers. I was going to say it's just the sheer numbers of people that are out there that they're doing this to. It's your odds of actually them turning up is just like winning the lottery, because there's just so much access. It's so easy to get out there. There's so many people out there. You're more likely just to get passed by and someone else chosen than you just to be the one getting got.
Well, the main reason why he said you'd have to worry about is if you talk to somebody else that they're being watched. Okay, maybe they robbed banks, maybe they done this, or maybe, they're drug smugglers or whatever, right? So they're being watched, and you don't know about it, so you send them an email thinking that they're a nice person. All of a sudden now you're being watched, and your whole background and your whole life is, being investigated. That's what I hate about the internet. I mean, the internet has come a long way since 2000. But on the same time, we've given all our rights away. So when people complain they don't have no freedom anymore, well, I hate to say it. I mean, the internet was the biggest thing to cause us to lose our freedom. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm. It's a gift and a curse all at the same time with the things that you can do and the access it has and the power that it has. But at the same time, whatever you're giving up, you're giving it right back.
It's a real smart way of doing it. You keep us all distracted with, social media and the things on the internet, and in the meantime, you're spying on everything we do.
Oh, like Facebook. Yep, I mean, exactly. Facebook is so, and I think, that he just, became under the UK was, I guess, questioning him, and he, I guess, blew up at him because they were really coming down on him. About they're basically what they're doing is Facebook is spying on everyone that's on Facebook. I mean, they know what friends you have, what things you look at, what type of things you say, and they sell the information. They're a brokerage.
Yeah, that's true. In the state of Michigan, over here, they sell your license number to advertisers and stuff like that, your driver's license number, and there's a lot. I'm sure other states do it too, but yeah, certain states you can do that. They sell your personal information, and then, once they get your information there, then they start looking at your other stuff and what you're making available for free as it is.
Well, what's so bad is, too, if you want to get into conspiracies, I mean, let's face it, they know how much money you make, how much debt you are with credit cards, what credit cards you have, what type of vehicles and boats and RVs you have, how many guns you have, how many TVs you have in your house, because the internet provider or the cable company gives them that information. I mean, they virtually know everything more about you and probably your spouse knows about you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I don't know. I think it's gotten too far, and I think it's going to continue, and I don't think there's any way back. I mean, back 20 years ago, to try to trace somebody down, it was so freaking hard. Now I can spend 10 minutes on the computer and, maybe 15 if I have to pay for the information. But, I mean, I can find out so much information about a guest before I bring them on the show, which I do occasionally, because sometimes I get a guest on, I want to check out and see if they're really, really legit. So I'll spend a few bucks and I'll check them out. And it is kind of shocking, some of the stuff that you find.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, 100%. What's public knowledge, too, and what can be collected very, very easily. It's definitely not hard to see where you're at or what's going on or who you're talking to or what you're interacting with.
So where do you guys see the future of your podcast going? I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, I know you were saying you want to get more listeners. Are you going to be changing your format, doing, more shows, going longer or what have you?
I think, I think for me, I want to see the future of the show moving where we're adding guests. I'd like to broaden it. I'd like to broaden us into having actually a little bit, more as far as some paranormal guests, tapping with some people that I know, doing some more UFOs, some Bigfoot. And, at times, I think sometimes with Bobby and I, we do have some strong shows when we're even just hitting on some current event news type of cycles, just Trump and what's going on with North Korea and Iran, and I think for the future of our show, I think we need to broaden it a bit. I think it was more of getting our feet wet, getting used to and comfortable with what we're doing as a show. Like Bobby said, we added both of our wives on, and I think they have a tendency to ground us when we start getting a little too out there and crazy, or
taking us out there sometimes.
Taking us out, and I think they've done a good job of adding to the show. So I think now we're at that point. I think that we need to broaden it a bit. Bobby, I don't know what you think, but those are just kind of my views.
Yeah, just like Rich was saying, just kind of bring some more guests in and try to get more interaction with more people and to touch on different topics. It's always good to kind of, obviously just conspiracy. Conspiracy can relate to, like Rich said, Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, paranormal, whatever. And you can really go in a lot of different areas and touch on a lot of different topics. But definitely like the interaction, like with the format, we touch on a lot of current events at first. And, sometimes me and Rich can just get going back and forth. Like, we'll go get in a heated flat earth debate, or we'll get in a heated conspiracy debate about one way or another we view things. And, that might go on, or we could touch on a topic. We'll have a featured topic, which would be UFOs or paranormal. And, we might only touch on it just for a little bit because the current event is actually taking up more interest and more time. And there'll be people in the chat room saying, hey, yeah, we're rapping about this, what's going on with that? And, it all, and the length, it all depends on, I guess, really the flow of the conversation. If we feel like we've got a good show going on, if Shannon didn't drink all the rum shada, I think that we would definitely, we could have, all kinds of different lengths for episodes. It all just depends on the topic, and what we're talking about and how it's rolling.
And one of the big things we want is we want interaction from the people listening. We want people to call in. We want people to join the chat room. It's one of those shows that we want to have fun. We want the people to have fun, but we want the interaction. We don't want it just where it's you just sit there and listen to us ramble for an hour or 2 hours or whatever it may be. You got an opinion, let us hear about it, and come on. And, we're a show that we're not going to judge anybody because, hell, some of the things we're talking about is crazy anyways. And, you know, I think that's where the future of the show is going.
Well, I'll
take that back. I will judge. I do judge. I will judge heavily, actually. I judge very, very heavily.
Well, I will tell you guys this. I started out in broadcast, I think, right in 1976. I got my first gig as a DJ. Second gig was doing talk shows, and then I started doing, more talk shows in my early career than, being a DJ. And I really enjoyed it. But back then, paranormal wasn't anything like today. I mean, we were talking about occults and witchcraft, and that was pretty much it. Occasionally somebody would talk about a UFO, but not much. Now it has really, really changed where the paranormal is like everywhere. I mean, people are more open, about it. People back, when I first started out in broadcasting, they didn't want to say, hey, I saw a Bigfoot or I saw a UFO, because you know why? They would have been labeled as a crackpot. Yeah, you're a nut, and now, I mean, you got people, coming forward and saying, hey, I ran into a Bigfoot, or I saw a UFO, or, or what have you, or I was abducted, and people are more willing to talk about it now, and it has changed. But I will say this, and I've said it numerous times, if you go on the internet, there is literally thousands of talk shows in the paranormal. I mean, you could spend the whole weekend and find every 5 minutes another talk show. And the bad thing is, I retired, back a few years ago. I was out of broadcasting for about 20 years, but I did almost 20 years of broadcasting before I retired out of it. And, I was friends, not a close friend, but a friend of Art Bell. And, back about maybe now going on 11 months ago, I was talking to him and I go, gee, I'm bored just riding my motorcycle all the time. And he said, Kate, get back and do what you were good at. Go back into broadcasting. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Yeah. It hit me. So, I started my show just like you guys. And I didn't really know what I was doing because, I was used to actually having an engineer run my show. I just talked behind the microphone. My background in electronics is outdated, okay? It's dated, like in the 80s, late 80s. That's where my wife came in handy, what she does. That's what she does for a living. She knows computers. And, I got on the show, and, the first week, I was really depressed, guys. I had maybe 5 listeners. And that went on for maybe 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden it started getting, 25 or 30. I'm going, wow, it's picking up. Not. Nice. And then, after a couple months, I started getting back the feel of doing a show. Because like I said, I've been out of it for a while. All of a sudden it started going, in the high hundreds and into the thousands. So now when I do a show, between all the different apps I'm on, in my website and you name it, I'm averaging 30 to sometimes high as 60,000 per episode of my show. Now it's live, and we're live on at least 3 different formats out there. But it's really drastically picked up. But I focused on how I wanted to run my show.
Yeah. And and I think that's with Bobby and I is it's taken some time to really figure out, what the dynamic of the show. We started with him and I, and then, my wife would kind of make some comments during the air, but off mic that people would hear and people liked it. And so then we realized, she adds something to the show. And then we realized, well, Bobby's wife adds something. And it's I try to talk with Bobby all the time. We just got to be patient. We keep pushing. We keep doing what we want. We keep having fun. There's going to be a breakthrough at some point. And that's what we're doing. Biggest thing I think is that, we have fun when we do the show. It doesn't feel like, a chore or something that we don't want to do. And as long as I feel that, I always feel like, the show is worth doing. And I think the viewers will hear that fun that we have. And hopefully that will rub off on them as well.
Oh, I think so. I mean, it takes time. You know, I probably advanced more than a lot of people because my background in broadcasting made it a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew how to market myself. Plus, I know, you know, how to find the right guests and how to. I'm pretty good. I mean, almost every guest I've interviewed, you know, will send me a message afterwards, and they come back and they go, the way you know, interview me, you get stuff out of me that the other hosts don't seem to do. And I just have a different